Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to the channel. I've got a brand new custom that I just finished not that long ago, this Street Fighter Alpha version of Chun-Li. Why did I make this one in particular? So really quickly, this is actually my favorite costume of all time for Chun-Li. Out of all the costumes I've ever seen this character, and she has a billion of them, Street Fighter Alpha Chun-Li is my favorite costume that she has. Secondly, in Marvel vs. Capcom, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I am a Chun-Li main. I'm not saying that I am, incredible at her, but she is by far the character that I am best with, and she's always on my team, and I always use this costume in that game. So, as you may or may not know, I have been building a Marvel vs. Capcom collection of Marvel Legends, in which a lot of Marvel Legends, obviously they make Marvel characters, but they don't make any Capcom ones because I have to make those myself. And this will go with my Marvel vs. Capcom collection of Marvel Legends, because that's what I play with her. And I will make like a regular Chun-Li, like a classic one, but she's going to go in a separate collection. So this one's just going to be with my Marvel vs. Capcom stuff. So that's why I made this one first over the rest of the Chun-Lis. Let's go ahead and get into how I built her, because she does have some cool stuff going on. Some things, clearly not great about her. I know you probably are ready to type in the comments section how weird her eyes look. I'll get into that. But, I think she looks good overall, given hand paints and all that stuff. I think she looks pretty solid. Start with the shoes. Shoes are painted like so, and I actually forgot to go back and paint the laces white, because I was going to paint white on top of the yellow. I just forgot to do that. But other than that, that is painted like so. These shoes themselves are from a Gwenpool figure, in which these are actually I molded and cast the shoes from the Gwenpool figure. So these are actually copies. They're not the original Gwenpool shoes, but they are, essentially, if you can't do that, they are the Gwenpool shoes and repainted. And I think they turn out and they look good. They work well for this character. Just repainted. And then going down, these legs themselves, these are like the swivel cut legs that have like the cut there, and those are the same legs, and these are legitimately the same legs, are from off of an X-23. Whoa, don't fall over now. But yeah, you can see the X-23, they have the same thing, and I legitimately use an X-23 figure for that. So you can see the goth boots here, all of this detail and stuff. I had to sand all of that off with a Dremel to make it smooth, to get it to look like this. And I have a lot of these legs. I don't have a lot of these like regular legs, so I have to use the X-23 ones when I want to use that kind of leg. But that is genuinely an X-23 lower leg. The thighs are genuinely from a Blink figure. So these are not the biggest thighs. Well, they kind of are. So I know Chun-Li, huge thighs. I get it. Everyone knows that, right? These aren't the biggest per se thighs for the most part. There are other bigger thighs. Let's see. So you have, like, say these are actually, if you compare them to their what I just had, they're not bigger. They're the same size for what it's worth, but these are more muscular. If you go back, if you really see what these thighs look like but not silver, my Power Girl video, I use these legs, these style legs, and you can see a lot better when looking at Power Girl's legs, because they're colored a flesh tone, how much more muscular these legs are than the ones here, the black Blink ones. But they are actually the same size, so there's not much I can do with that other than trying to sculpt and make them bigger myself, which I think is a terrible idea, because I don't want to make the legs look ugly. I'm not an expert sculptor. So just use the legs as they are. Also, Alpha Chun-Li is slimmer anyway, so what's it matter? Either way, these legs are much more muscular. And the reason why I didn't use these legs, I used these, they're a lot smoother, is articulation. And that's the biggest reason why. So as far as articulation goes, these legs here, that's as far as they spread there, and you can kind of do some stuff there. Like, that's not too bad, but you can see, like, if I wanted to do, yeah, that's actually not that bad this time. But in general, these have a lot more space to work with, a lot more articulation. If I wanted to do like a spinning bird kick or try to do lightning legs or whatever with these, it would not look nearly as good as it would using these legs, because these legs have a lot more going on. So I'm going to use this figure to articulate that, because this is these are the same legs. See how much more spread they get here, and then you can do that. So you can see a spinning bird kick with these legs are a lot easier to achieve, and then just getting side kicks and stuff like that a lot easier. I'm not doing it with this one because paint, but in general, that's why, just in case I do want to have her displayed that way or do something like that, I wanted her to have the articulation. But while we're on the subject of using torsos, I didn't use this one, but this is a moonstone style body mold, and that is what I used here on Chunners. She is a curvy lady, so we gave her the curves, so all of that is there. You can see all of that looks good. As far as the stripes on the side, that was a challenge, and that was not good. As you can see, that's something that I did not do very well throughout. Now, in general, it's not going to ever stay perfectly anyway, just because of how using the figure, twisting and turning and stuff like that. But I really messed up big time on this piece right here. Like, all of it's pretty forgivable up until you get to right here. And that's consistent on both legs, that I really messed up on that piece on both legs. At the end of the day, I am not a perfectionist, although I feel like I am sometimes. I'm not a perfectionist, so I didn't worry about it. Plus, yellow, like, legitimately took me to paint the yellow on this figure. It took me like an hour or two just to do the yellow. And there's multiple coats on the shoes, on the chest, and all along the sides of the legs, just the yellow. And that was before I painted the blue, and then you have to paint the blue in between the yellow. It was really difficult, and it's very time consuming. And actually, this is the first figure that actually took 2 days to paint. Out of all of the figures on my channel that I've made, when I paint, I usually do it all in one night. This is the first figure that I've painted where I actually took 2 days to finish. I did all of the yellow and then did all of the blue in one night, and it took like 4 hours. And it got late, and I knew the flesh tone was going to take me a little while, considering the face and stuff. So I just went to bed and got up the next day and knocked out the rest of her arms and her face and painted her head, her hair and stuff. But yeah, this is the first time. So, I didn't want to go back and redo the yellow after all of that. That being said, let's go back to this Blink figure. We have the upper torso and the arms are the same on this figure, but there is a considerable difference between this chest and, well, the two chests there. So you can see Chun-Li kind of thick with it on the chest, and Blink not so much, but they are genuinely the same arms and the same upper torso, but I did add a sculpt there to make her chest bigger. Originally, actually planned out on making this top part of her outfit an actual top that is removable. So it would have been sculpting her chest and then making a top that goes on top of that, so you can actually see underneath and stuff like that. That was the original plan, That jacket looks so bad. It was a good concept, but it just didn't work out. So I ended up, just doing this. And I think it looks good like this. I don't think it looks bad. I would have liked for it to be different than that. And I actually have another idea that could have worked, but because I didn't plan for it, it's just not gonna, it wasn't gonna work out. I didn't want to have to restart everything, but it is genuinely the same chest, just added sculpt to make her breasts bigger. And I think that turned out pretty decently at the end of the day. Arms again are the same. You see how much muscle definition is in her arm on this. These blink arms are really amazing. It sucks that they only really work on the blink upper torso, or the the Psylocke one, but they're really, really good. They're very well defined compared to a Kate Bishop arm that are good arms, but they don't have the articulation, which is another great thing about this figure. You can get more than your standard 90 on that. You can get a little bit further with these arms, and they're very smooth. They look very nice, and they have so much more muscle definition than what a Kate Bishop would. That said, yeah, paint the way it is. Oh, her wrist, before I go any further, forgot about that. So this is glued on one of the bangles, or each side has the bangles on the Shikla figure. They're like gold bangles on that figure. I took those off and glued them onto these arms and sanded down a little bit, and then took epoxy sculpt, which is not the original plan, but just did what I can. It doesn't look so bad. It's just not the way that I wanted them to look, but that is epoxy sculpt going around for those little beads on the bangle. But the bangle is glued on. It is not going to come off. I didn't want it to be removable. I just wanted it to look good and be there. And then painted the way it is. Hands, all of her hands have pink fingernail polish on them. You can see, as well as the pink on her lips. So it's the same color, same paint. And now her face. So her face, as we're going back to it, is the same as this. It's the Karma figure. All right, so there you go. This head is the same as this. These are this is Chun-Li now, not Karma. I like the way the head looks. It's a good, strong head shape for Chun-Li. Of course, again, the eyes, not exactly what I wanted. I messed that up. I'm not good at painting eyes. It's okay, don't worry. That's why they look weird. It's fine. They just painted too big. I needed to get a little closer to the eye line with the black, but it's very hard to do that. So her eyes are just bigger than they're supposed to be. That's all that happens there, and that's why they look a little off. If I made it just a little tighter on the black, her eyes will look just fine. Short brows. Her hair, I should say, all of it is sculpted on with epoxy sculpt, with the exception of her bangs. Her bangs are actually just hair from, I think, actually an X23, and I just cut that off and glued it on top of the sculpt. So we got her alpha bangs. She does have red in her eye, just right at the end of the eyelash there. You can see that stuff. And then as far as the ribbons, so let's just talk about that really quick. The ribbons in her hair are glued on plastic for the most part. Like going around the actual hair bun is just epoxy sculpt, and that's painted. But the ribbon and stuff. Imagine that this plastic bottle, which you could use this, but I actually used a plastic cup. It's just like a generic plastic cup that I used. I don't know what brand. It's just a plastic cup, but you can just imagine that this plastic bottle is a plastic cup. I took the plastic from this and cut streams of, for that. Just made the ribbons and stuff like that from off of that plastic cup. And very simple. It's not the most elaborate in the world, but it works. It works just fine. And I think it looks good. I think it works. It does like stick out a lot. I wish it was a little bit further like that, but it does move. It's bendable. You know, it's not going to break. Using angleless paint on that, angleless leather acrylic paint helps as well. I use that on, again, the hair. I almost use that always on hair, but I also use it on the ribbons so that way they can bend and the paint doesn't crack or chip or break and stuff like that, so you don't have to worry about that. Speaking of the angleless acrylic leather paint, the blue, this light blue, is also the angleless color, so that went also on her shoes. So I just use that because it's already something I had and it looks good. But the rest of the paint on her flesh, or her lips too, her lips are also angleless paint, the pink, but her flesh tone, the yellow on her body, and the dark blue, all of that was Model Masters acrylic paint. So we'll see how well that's gonna go, because they are not making that anymore. Anyway, let's go ahead and compare this Street Fighter girl to the other Street Fighter girl that was in my last video. That would be Cammy and Street Fighter Alpha gang over here. We can see now finally a height difference, and this is what I was talking about in my Cammy video. I wanted to show you how they compare. Let's get that a little bit better. Very close, but not terrible. Like, Chun-Li is taller, mostly because of the hat. Cammy looks like she's about the same size, but Chun-Li is taller. They have the exact same length in legs, because they have the exact same build in legs, as far as like the swivel legs and then the thicker like blink or Psylocke thighs. Those are all the same, and they have shoes that are relatively flat. They really differ when it comes to the torso. This is a very, very long torso on the Medusa, and it's a very short torso on the X23 Magic, so on. And then this uses a Lady Deadpool, which is technically long, and then this uses the Blink, which is technically short, but overall this gives her the height advantage of this combination of torsos versus this one. It's just a small change, and that's all I want. 5'4", 5'5/5'6", depending on who you talk to, I guess, for Chun-Li, and you can see that height difference there. And of course, I wanted to maintain Chun-Li because she's Chun-Li, but Cammy still does Cammy things. So that is how that works out, and I think going forward, Chun-Li is going to stay on a build like this. It's whether or not I change Cammy, I'm back and forth on. I'm not 100% sure yet what I want to do, because I could use like this top on a Kate Bishop and switch things up, but we'll see. I believe that's it for our comparison. We're just going to leave it here on this frame. Why not? I got more Street Fighter stuff on the way for sure. I can't wait. I don't even know who's going to be the next one I'm going to make, but for sure there's going to be more Street Fighter girls for sure, and then probably some boys at some point. More Capcom characters. Again, this is going to go on my Marvel vs. Capcom collection, but I will make more that are specific to that collection, as well as specific to Street Fighter. And then, yeah, I got some more customs on the way, so make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe for more videos. Subscribe for more advice. I don't know. Make sure you should share it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.